Hey guys, welcome to Halcyon Days, the Estate Sale Journey and Beyond. This is our very first podcast. We're happy to have you here. He's Josh. I'm George. How you doing, Josh?
Good, George. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So, being that this is our first podcast, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what made you want to be in an estate sale company?
All right. Yeah. My name is Josh. I think it's better for you to start because you're kind of the one who kind of got us started down this journey, George. And then maybe you can kind of set me up with why you thought I'd be a good fit for this industry with you. Uh, so I think it's more appropriate for you to start because you're the mastermind behind this whole journey that we're on.
The mastermind. So I was doing a few different things. I know Josh from our retail background, and so I've known him for a long time. But I was out of retail and I was doing some other stuff. It led me to reselling. Reselling led me to shopping at estate sales, and then kind of as I researched them and I kind of got to know them a little bit more, it felt like something that I'd enjoy doing more than just going out shopping and reselling. One, I like the interaction with people. I also really am passionate about helping people. So being in an estate sale company, um, we have the opportunity to really take some grief off of people, take some burden away from people, really help them through some processes that are tough. Uh, I'm a family guy. I have two kids, happily married. I'm sure you'll hear about them as the show goes on. But that's really the whole gist. Again, I know Josh started out as someone who would shop at my store, and then as someone who I hired, and then when I left that location, he became like a superstar, and everybody got to know him. And then he came back over to where I went, built our relationship even further. I know I can count on him. I know even though he and I are very different in a lot of ways, we kind of have the same core values, and I embrace our differences, and I really am happy to be working with someone who I know like I can trust and have faith in, and that will do the right thing, if I'm not looking. So there's your little hype up.
Yeah, for sure. So we both were working in retail up until I believe 2020 is when we both. You had left a little bit before that. I had left kind of in the midst of like the coronavirus pandemic. And you had started estate sales, and I was working at a tech company from home. And George knows I was absolutely miserable. Like there wasn't a time that came where I was like, I'm miserable. Every time we like we're hanging out, our families, whatever, you're like, how's work? Like I'm miserable. But I was always intrigued at George's determination to be his own boss, kind of. And he was doing the online selling. He was a eBay flipper, and he would tell me about like sales and stuff like that. And I always found that intriguing. But the eBay thing just didn't sound like it was like for me. I felt like I didn't have like enough like background knowledge and like a specific niche like he does for certain things. But then when he started talking about the estate sale, I was really intrigued. And I think the biggest thing for us when we went and visited a few was the disorganization um, from some of the things that we saw, and the service for the customer where we could excel at.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how many sales have we had so far with Halcyon Days? I think it's 4 to 5.
I don't even know the number. We had one terribly long one, so that was over a month long. But we'll talk about that, I think, another time. That'll take up a whole episode at least.
That'll be its own like mini series. Things things not to do.
Yeah. But I mean, I think you touched on a good point because uh, as someone who's in retail, I go into stores when I shop, whatever, and I see things that I find wrong like right away and that irritate me. Whether it's poor merchandising with like things left on the floor, it doesn't have to be like perfectly merchandised, but just like the lack of ownership from the employees, and that stuff really bothers me. If people don't greet me, that bothers me. A lot of times I'll walk in, somebody won't say something, and I'll say good and you, without them. asking me how I'm doing, kind of thing. Um, so I felt like there was definitely a void because even the estate sales that I had gone to shop, there wasn't like a customer experience. And for estate sales,
Yeah.
there's a client and there's a customer. The client's the person you're hosting the sale for. The customers, the people coming in and shopping, right? So I felt like
Yep.
there really wasn't customer experience, and you and I both have kind of mastered that. Outside of that, I'm kind of more like the, I guess, creative or kind of like free thinker. You're the logical, like this goes here, this place this here, this is like planner kind of thing, which is how we balance each other out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's us in a nutshell. So, Josh was thinking that we probably should have our own episode each to get to know each other, but I didn't want
I think it's
to.
important.
I didn't want to bore
I think it's
everybody.
important. I think everyone wants to know who Georgie is.
I don't think they want an hour worth of Georgie, but
Uh,
yeah, you might because your love for me is so great. Uh,
Vast. It's
yes,
vast for
it's
sure.
vast. Um, but so let's kind of get into that first sale. Um, so we had done a lot of things. We got our name. We were excited. Got our tax information. Got all that stuff. We became a real company, and then we had to market ourselves. And we did all the free marketing that you could do. Everywhere on Facebook, some social media besides Facebook. Did all this other stuff, and we have our website up and running. Is it the best looking website? Probably not, but it's effective and it's getting better. So that kind of stuff. But somebody reached out to us. So do you remember what it was like when we first went to that house?
There was a lot of uncertainty. It was obviously our first sale and it was our first client meeting, so that was obviously most of the uncertainty. And then there was a lot of uncertainty of like what we could sell, what we couldn't sell, when we could set up, what we couldn't touch, where we could list. There was a lot of like back and forth with that. And I know I was still working at my tech job Monday through Friday. I believe I had taken
Mhm.
off for our sale those couple days, but you had done the majority of the prep. So what was that like for you?
So I mean, I look at everything as like a learning opportunity for us, and things that we might be able to take away for the next one. But during this, it was tough because this scenario was um, a relocation. The couple, they were older couple. The male, the gentleman, he had health issues and things like that, and they were going to live with or near their daughter, which is not really close to where they live now. So or then, um, so while we were there, they were there. So while I'm trying to set up, they're there. We didn't have access to every room all the time. We didn't have kind of free reign to move things around, price things to be as loud or as quiet or whatever the case may be. And then that kind of stuff was frustrating, but again, we're in it for the customer experience, for the client experience at this point. Like we're in it to provide them the best service that we can. So we're not going to give them a hard time. We're going to work through it. We're going to work around it. You know, um, we dealt with primarily their children, but while I was there, the couple was there. So there were things where we were told, for example, we can put things in the living room. And then when we went to put things in the living room, the woman was highly upset with us and was like unacceptable. So we were like, okay, that's fine. We'll make it work. No big deal. You were there for that. You remember that, right? So the gentleman with his health issues, he couldn't remember who we were, so he would come in and ask me, like what I was doing there, and I had to work up a conversation with him, talk with him, and it took just a lot of time because Josh is better at this than I am. I could not just end the conversation. I felt like I really had to keep the conversation going with him because it was just like kind of it kind of touched me a little bit, like the guy was, he needed that interaction at that, at those moments or whatever. And I mean, he told me stories of him hiking and camping and fishing and hunting and all these stories. And then the next day he would tell them to me again, if he saw like a boot that they were going to sell, it would like kind of trigger his memory. So the processing for getting it all done was hard, which led to not getting everything priced for our first sale. Um, so I'll transition to you now. What do you think about like how it went during the actual sale?
Um, I think it was. I mean, outside of the month long sale, was probably our most difficult sale because I felt like our hands were tied with a lot of things. There were a lot of things that definitely went wrong. We had like had a conversation with them about like not being at the sale, and then there were multiple children that were at the sale, and at one point I think like 4 or 5 of them were like standing in like a very high traffic area. So like people would come into the house and they'd have to like walk around this family who was like talking and like starting to like clear stuff out while the sale was going on. At one point, I think it was like the second day, they had placed like a dumpster at the house. So like that was a challenge, right? Because then like it puts customers in a weird mindset, like, oh, like whatever we don't sell, we're gonna throw away. So then we had customers trying to like really talk us down. And in terms of like for realization for me, like it really like helped me realize like how customers or clients value their property versus how customers value their property, right? I think we all as individuals probably have a higher value on our items in our house because there was that personal or emotional cost. But the reality is, say you spend $5,000 on an item, that doesn't mean that if you turn around and go to sell it, that you're going to get $5,000, right? Like you're looking at
Yeah.
maybe a quarter of that, especially at an estate sale. I think it'd be beneficial for those who are joining who maybe don't know what is an estate sale, George. Like, what's the difference between like an estate sale and a sale of the estate, or a yard sale or garage sale? Like, what is it that we do? I think you're probably a little bit better. I like how you explain things. It's very easy to understand, and then I'll correct you when you're wrong.
I mean, fair enough. So I think, simply put it, it's basically a yard sale of things that people still use, right? Or used, depending on our scenario for what we're in there. So there's more value in them because they're still part of the home. A lot of them. I mean, there's still stuff that's like yard sale stuff, but you're talking about like
For sure, for sure.
they're working, like their china, their cookware, like things that are their lamps, the things that they're using, like whatever you want to think about, all their knickknacks, like all that stuff is part of their daily life. They have them staged and set up and happy, and all that other stuff. And at a yard sale, it's like we've had this stuff in the garage for so long or in the attic for
We
so
just don't want to
long.
throw it away.
Let's make some extra money,
Yeah.
and so like so that's why you're going to find higher prices, I think, at estate sales. I think the value of the items inside the home that are part of the everyday life just hold more value.
Okay. Yeah,
Does that
a
make
lot of
sense to you?
customer, a lot of people always get confused when I say like I run an estate sale company. They think we're selling like the actual estate, and it's not the
Hmm.
sale of the house. It's just the sale of the items in the house. But I agree. I think it's like a tier or two above what a yard sale and a garage sale are. Obviously, you are in a time crunch and you have to get rid of so much. And not everything's going to be at value, but there's still like you're not going to like walk like you might walk into a yard sale and pick up a TV for like $50 because it's a really really old TV, but in an estate sale, you might be getting only a 2 or 3 year old TV, like you're paying maybe closer to retail value for it, depending on how old it was or the size or the quality. And I don't think a
Hmm.
lot of people realize that when they walk into a estate sale, because estate sales will show up in a lot of yard sale, garage sale searches. That's how I know that's how we've generated a lot of our traffic is on like yardsales.com and things like that. Which or what's the other one? Craigslist we've posted on, so we get a lot of yard sale traffic. And I think that was a challenge. We had a lot of customers our first, and every sale, but I think our first sale where they would try to negotiate like it's a yard sale, and we were literally inside the house. We're like, it's not a yard sale, it's an estate sale. Um,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, but the I think the dumpster thing and then the clients being on the property were definitely the hardest part of our first sale. And trying to like
The dumpster hurt a lot.
yeah, yeah. I remember there was one item in the house where they were like, "Oh yeah, we can now like where it was like middle of the first day where they're like, oh by the way, we can sell that one cabinet." And we were like, okay, like how much like do you want to sell it for? I was like, I don't know. I'm thinking 3,000. And I remember like your face was like, yeah, we
Okay.
can try. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And then it was like a half hour later. He came back. He's like, I think what we're actually gonna try to sell that for, and we thought he was gonna lower it, and he was like, we're gonna try to sell it for 10. He like raised it like an astronomical amount, and then when they finally did come down, it was only like 7,500 that they wanted to come down to. Which we
Yeah.
did not end up selling that cabinet for obvious reasons. But
Yeah. There's. I mean, honestly, we do a contract with every one of our clients, right? And if we really wanted to push it, our contract wasn't really honored in that particular sale. Um, they kind of did their own thing quite a bit, and there were some other pain points like the new owners of the house, because somebody had already bought it. They came by and they were looking at the dining room table, and we were gonna sell it to them and have it left there, but then she started talking to the son who was there, and then she didn't buy the table and said she'd come back if she'd come back tomorrow and see if she can get it for a cheaper price. She never came back. I guarantee you they worked out a deal. Just like the way it went down, it was pretty clear like that. And again, having somebody there that shouldn't be there, is a problem. The dumpster thing was huge. Just a lot of obstacles to overcome that, you know, we just, it was our first sale. We needed a sale. We needed to get this thing
yep,
rolling, and there are definitely some things that we kind of tolerated, you know.
hmm
But I think no matter what, at the end of the day, we gave them a great experience. We learned a lot. We gained some customer base. We have a basically a sign up sheet. So you give us your email, we'll send you an email when we have another estate sale in the area, kind of thing. So that helped us gain some customers there.
yeah.
And then
If you would like to join our email list for our next sale, feel free to post it in the comments, and we'll add you to our email list.
but I would say, like, all in all, I left it feeling good about what we were able to do. It also taught us, how to employ extra people where we need them, how to spend the
hmm
money, what made sense, because that's I wouldn't say that was our moneymaker sale, right?
It's probably our
That was kind
least.
of
That
what it
was probably
was.
the least amount of money we made at a
Yeah,
sale. Which
yeah,
would be pretty standard if you ask me. Like we learned, I think on the fly, like we started posting in different like marketplaces, trying to advertise. Like we did like the generic stuff, and then we had like switched to like posting
mhm,
specific stuff to generate interest, and then from those few posts, I think like the third day we did the most, but because of the way we were posting and where we were posting,
mhm,
we drove traffic through um, that way and sold items that we didn't think we were going to be able to sell as
yeah,
well. So,
yeah. I mean, also the other pain point, which I forgot, you kind of touched on it, that the overvaluation of the stuff that they said, and they gave us thresholds that we couldn't go under, and one of the ones was that armoire in the middle, where the woman who lived at the house, the older lady,
had done
she
her own research.
looked it up and
Yeah.
she found it on, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the website Cherished,
Mm.
but that place is astronomically priced, right? So, like, she found it on that and was like, "That's the price I need to sell it for," and there was no way. I mean, absolutely no way we could have done that, you know. And the sad part about it is they gave us hard nose on a lot of things about price, and then at the end of the day, they threw them away,
Yeah.
So
While we were still there.
while we were still there,
Yeah.
yep. So, yeah. So like those are the pain points, and I'm sure anybody who's listening to this could understand like the frustration there. But at the end of the day, like we never lost our cool. We never got angry. Um, we might have been upset, but we handled it professionally the entire time. Like I said before, we took it as a learning experience. I think we really learned a lot from that sale. I think it was super beneficial to have done it even the way it was.
hmm
You know,
I agree.
it's kind of given me more confidence in our self worth. And I had to turn a sale down, what, like a month ago? Do you remember? because it just didn't make sense for us to go all the way out there, and we wouldn't have made the money. Whereas if this was the beginning, I probably would have taken it, and I probably would have spent more on gas than I would have made at the
Yeah.
place, um, just to have a sale, you know. So but we learn, and we keep going anyway. So on the point of learning, what do you think? Think we should teach these guys some things about estate sales if they ever want to, have an estate sale?
Some things. Yeah. So I would say at the moment, like you're gonna decide that you need to have an estate sale. The first thing you should do is probably call an estate sale company. I think most people, from the few customers we've talked to, their first instinct is to start throwing stuff away, and that could actually be a mistake because if you're not an expert, or you maybe it was your spouse who died, you don't know what they had might be valuable. Um, and we've actually, we've walked into houses where customers like, yeah, I have all this junk that we've turned around and sold for a couple $100. Because customers just, or clients don't always know what they have or what their spouse had and the value in it, or if there is value to be seen in those items. So I think that's the first thing. Uh,
So hold on. So about that value, never assign value. Like you don't know what something's going to be worth to somebody else. Things that you could never imagine that you would think in a million years wouldn't sell, sell. We've sold half open potting soil bags. We've sold broken tools. We've sold. I mean, we
Toiletries.
sold empty gas cans. Yeah, yeah, toiletries. Like half used bottles of Windex. It's don't throw anything away. Like that's the big thing. Don't throw anything away. Don't have a yard sale first.
Hmm.
Because when you do that, it has nothing to do with us. Any estate sale company, if you're listening to this in Nebraska, I mean, we're in the middle of central Pennsylvania here. So, but if
100%.
you hire if you hire an estate sale company and then you had a garage sale or a yard sale, they're more likely to turn you down because that's just less items that they can sell, because there has to be profit. I don't think any of us are looking to get rich over this, but there has to be some profit there. We do want to feed our kids, that kind of stuff, and keep a roof over their house, over their heads. So don't take the first step without talking to an estate sale company. I think that's a big thing.
I'd say the second thing is do your research. I mean, we've heard stories where auctioneer companies wanted like 55% of the profit, and then wanted to charge you on top of that. It was like I think like a $2,500 like fee to pay for like the
Yeah,
employees and like the setup of the stuff, and then that would have left the customer like literally within the quote they provided. The customer was like $375, what they would have walked away with the sale of everything in their house. So I think if you're first starting out at your own estate sale company, or you're trying to get into this business, being competitive is one of the keys there, especially if there's not a ton of competition, or if say a lot of your competition is like auctioneer companies. That gives you the value to be like the lowest cost to a client in order to on who to go with, right? So for us, we pay all of our employees out of whatever percentage we take. So if we have to have 3 4 guys help us out, or ladies help us out with the sale, that comes from our profit. That the customer doesn't pay for that, or the client doesn't pay for that. Whereas these big
yeah,
auctioneer companies, they'll come in and they'll charge their commission fee, and then they charge a fee on top of that to pay for the employees that they use to set up the sale.
yeah. They've got cleanup fees. I mean, the fees on top of fees, and for us, and I honestly, I think any small business, because we're a small business, we're not a corporation, obviously it's just us, but any small business should try to find ways to set themselves apart from anybody else, right? One of the ways is just the value. So if we say to you our percentage is 35% and it covers everything, it does, there's no cleaning fee, there's no setup fee, there's none of that, right? We don't do that. If we have to pay employees, we pay the employees ourselves out of that, like Josh said. um,
Yeah, set yourself apart, make yourself competitive. I think that's kind of where you're going. It gives you the edge. It gives you the ability to be negotiable because, I mean, even if you have to take 5% less, that's still better than taking a 35% no cost or no takeaway fee. Whereas with these auctioneer companies, which would probably be like your main competitor when you're first starting out, like if you're like us, I think when we did the research, there was maybe 3 to 4 in our immediate area, and from what we saw when we went, they weren't anything special. They weren't doing something amazing that like legitimized themselves to be set apart from the others.
Mhm.
So it's a growing market mainly because the customer base isn't going anywhere. People are always going to be downsizing, moving to assisted living or other things that you would need an estate sale for. Um,
Plus, it's trendy. Like the people who like to go to estate sales, you
oh
find
yeah, we've
millions of
we've
those
had
videos out there on
YouTubers we've
TikTok and
had
stuff.
YouTubers come to our
Hmm.
sale, which
Yep.
was kind of interesting. Um,
Yeah.
they're pretty interesting.
He was a
He was
cool
all right.
dude.
He was all right.
Yeah. I hope he watches this and he remembers you and he's
They,
like, that guy's a jerk.
they have no idea who I'm talking about. It could be anybody
He knows.
or she.
Yeah. Okay. But the other thing I was going to say is that when we were talking about the fees, right? The only thing that we don't cover is when if they need something like a
Yeah,
dumpster, right? Because we're not going to pay for them to throw away their stuff. We'll help them throw stuff in the dumpster. We're not going to charge them for that, but we're not gonna pay for the
minimal
dumpster.
help.
That
Minimal help
no, we're gonna help because that's what we do.
for sure.
Okay, we did already, but anyway. So yeah, Josh, we're at 30
We are
minutes.
at 30 minutes, Rich. I'm glad you can count.
Is your timer on your screen or is it
It's
just on
on
my
both of
screen?
our screens.
Look at that.
That
It's funny how these things work.
technology. You'd have no idea that we worked for a
Technology.
major technology company for 8 plus years.
I mean, in fairness, it had nothing to do with why I worked there. So I work for the people.
Yeah,
The stuff doesn't matter. The stuff never matters. It's always the people.
it's always about
Anyway, so another thing I would say if you're starting a company, an estate sale company, is you want to look at like your best way to network with people and in your field, right? So um, this the perfect timing for this because I just met with someone who's going to be a guest on our show. I met with her yesterday. Her name's Delinda. She's a realtor. She's got the same kind of outlook that we have. She wants to be there for the people. She's got the same core values that we have, that kind of thing. And you feel good about partnering with people that are like minded that way. You know that that aren't just there for the money. That aren't just there and to make the dollar. They're there to help somebody along the way and really you know when you're buying a house. She specializes in people who are 55 and older. She'll sell a house for anybody, but or buy would help you buy a house, but her specialty is 55 and older. So it's a perfect demographic for our clients. That's a big area of what we do. So I'd say like go out there, talk to people, find someone you trust, and you can bounce ideas off of and things like that. And I think that'll go a long way as well.
yeah. Networking groups can
Yeah,
definitely help, especially depending on what your business is. Uh, they can get you a lot of connections that you wouldn't have otherwise. For sure, for sure,
for sure,
for
for
sure.
sure.
So
Totally.
we started our company back in
Yeah,
May. We had our first sale in end of June,
sounds
right?
right.
Is there anything we would have done differently in getting our company started up?
I mean, there's always things that you could have done differently. I don't know. I mean, I don't know specifically because we're where we are right now, and it kind of is what it is. But I would say being more diligent with the networking thing. I think that which we still need to do. We still need to get out there more. Um, but I mean, I don't think we've done any events wrong or what I mean, like things like that. I don't think that I don't regret any, even our big long crazy ass sale. I don't regret it.
Yeah,
Would I have changed some things? Probably, but we we did the right thing. We, as far as I'm concerned, we helped people out, and you know, for the most part, I think they're usually grateful.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So I guess let me.
that's really
I guess let's start. Let me rephrase that question because obviously we're less than a year old at this point. So let's talk about some of the things that we chose not to do in starting up our company. Because I think a lot of people get bogged down in like what they can't do or what they can't afford or like the road like they see or hear these roadblocks and they freeze. And I think that's a big
mm-hmm.
challenge or roadblock for a lot of people. So I would say that the first thing that we didn't do is we didn't pay for advertising for our
Mm-hmm.
first couple of sales. Um, you know, a lot of people, want to charge you to advertise your company or whatever. We chose not to do that, and we've had a lot of good natural traffic. We hit a roadblock around like the holidays, but I mean, for what we do, that was we kind of expected that a little bit, but we didn't pay for advertising. We did not pay for people to design our website. Oh,
We do that ourselves.
go ahead. I mean, and I think our website, looks good. You can tell that it wasn't done by necessarily a website design specialist. But people want to charge you astronomical. But if you can get a pretty decent website, we looked up, YouTube tutorials. We did it together. We got feedback from people that we know on things, and we made changes based off that type of stuff. What were some other things? Oh, we turned down like paid networking services. So like as you go to these networking events, there were people there that wanted to like charge you to have meetings or charge us to have meetings with them so that they could promote our business but didn't like actually understand it, which was kind of like a weird conversation to have, because like how can you promote something that like you don't understand. We get emails daily on like people trying to redesign our website or advertise for us or promote us, but like you have to you have to pay them. A lot of those are mostly scams, so like you have to be like conscious of that. Um, is that like
Mm-hmm.
people don't tell you about when starting, like when you like see YouTubers or whatever, they're like, "Oh yeah, go out and like you can do it. Anyone can do it." And then like you start it and you find out all these things. Um, we formed our own LLC. We didn't have another company do it for us. So we manage our own LLC. We don't like a company doesn't do that for us. We don't have a lawyer that manages it for us. Um, I know from different things that some companies will try to like convince you that you need to buy into that, and then they'll manage your LLC, and it's like $3,000 a year.
I mean, I think that's how we can stay competitive by not doing that stuff. You know, if we needed to generate that kind of income to pay for that stuff, we'd have to take more. You know, so I think our model is correct, and I mean, I know in terms of customers, when we have a sale, they're going to show up because we have a pretty huge customer
Yeah,
base, and they're pretty loyal already. You know, so
yeah,
because we're
we've had
fair.
customers visit every single one of our sales since the first
Yep,
one. So I think you're absolutely right.
yep. Yeah, we even when I send the messages out that we have one up there, some people will respond, "Oh man, I'm out of town. I'm gonna miss it. Thanks for the heads up, though." You know what I mean? They care enough to even respond, which is cool. It's not just like it's like we form relationships. You know what I mean? Like we actually connect to the people that come to our house. I mean, our house, our sales, you know, and that kind of stuff. And that's what I like about this.
Yeah,
You know, that's one of the things like building these relationships with people and like being authentic and genuine, you know. And there's some, you know, where you know this person's going to come in and try to get the lowest price,
hmm
right? But you know them well enough where you can laugh at about it with them, you know. And it's like no, like we're not going that low, you know. Like
yeah. Like what's how much
like good
did
try.
you look to pay for this? And they're like, oh, $1. No, that's too
Yeah,
low. I'm sorry. Right? Like, yeah,
yeah. But I mean, you and I, we have back and forths all the time, you know, and we create an environment where people like kind of are involved and they like laugh with us, and you know, I'll make fun of you, you'll make fun of me, and like they kind of laugh with us and go along with us and that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's just a good friendly atmosphere the entire time,
Yeah.
and that's a huge part of what makes us want to keep going.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm better though.
Okay,
I think everybody knows it.
I'm going to create my own reviews for just me
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
Google, and I'm going to see, and I'll create them for you, and we'll see who can get the better Google
Yeah. Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be me for sure. For sure.
It won't. It won't. Like that guy wouldn't come down.
Come down.
Yeah.
I'm definitely like the harder, like you, like depending on the item. I'm definitely the harder negotiator. I'm like, no, like that's the
Well, it depends on a lot of things, not just the item. It depends on the client, what their motivation is. Is their motivation to make as much money as possible, or is their motivation to get things out of the house as fast as possible? You know what I mean? Like it just depends on what their motivation is, and it also depends on if this customer is buying a lot of things. You know what I mean? If we're like no to this one thing, and then they're like, all right, forget it, and they leave, we just lost all of that other stuff that they were going to get. So it's like I'm not that big of a pushover, but
yeah.
I mean the last place we were at, yeah. How much you want to pay? Yours.
No, there were certain things
You,
where I was like, no, like this is the hard price. There were certain things that I feel like you would have let go for certain prices, because you were in that mindset, and I was like, we can't, like.
I sure would have. There's no doubt in my mind.
So yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, there were times on that last sale where you were like, "How much did you sell it for?" Like, don't worry about it. It's sold. It's one less item in this crazy, crazy place.
So, I mean, do you want to talk about that sale? Do you want to save that for another episode? I guess that can kind of be its own like episode, right?
That yeah, that if you break that sale down, that can take a long time. There's a lot to talk about in that sale, so we don't need to go into like
TBD.
all of the sales, but TBD. We'll just tell you it was a hoarder house, and if any of our customers are watching this,
Don't know.
you would have known it already before I even said it. So, but anyway, um, here's a question for you guys. Hopefully, you can respond in the comments. Um, if you're if you've listened or watched for this long, so Josh talked about not paying for stuff ahead of time, right? So we decided that we're going to do this podcast, and admittedly, we're all over the place today, but hopefully at some point we'll be a little more streamlined. But one of the things to get your podcast out there is you have to kind of get an RSS feed, it's called, and basically there's a host that hosts that for you, and then you can distribute it out. But in order to get like all of them on there, um, there's a fee, right? So it's $14.99 a month, or it's like comes out to like $11.99 a month if you pay for it ahead of time. There's like a 20% discount. Like, do you think we should do that? Do you think we should make this into like an actual podcast where it's audio as well as like this YouTube video that you're watching? Um, and if this is a podcast and you're just listening, then bear with me for talking about the video. But um, it's just one of those things. I don't know what we should do. We do want to grow. We do want to have a little bit of fun with it. So it's just a matter of do we want to spend the money? What do you guys think? What do you think, Josh?
Um, I mean, I didn't really go over any, like, are there any restrictions for us? Like, do they have any claims to our podcast, or anything over like sponsorships or ads, certain
Mm-mm.
ads that we can't run if we use them?
No.
I think for
So
me,
it's
like the biggest thing with the business is wanting to maintain control, right? Like there's probably a handful of people in this world that I go into business, and you're probably one of two of them. Um, and the one thing that I think I've maintained in conversations with you is not wanting to give up control of our business to anybody at any level, right? Like I don't want to have to report to somebody on like our quarterly sales, or like if our podcast would take off and people would be coming to listen to us talk about estate sales, yard sales, business growth, anything like that. If we can't do certain things on our podcast because of where we post or how we post, So I think for me, that's more so the key than necessarily the cost. We've earned, I think, the right to pay to promote our podcast. But at the same time, like, maybe we'll wait till we get more than 5 subscribers.
Yeah, but the argument to that is people who would listen to Spotify podcasts will never see us on
Is
YouTube.
that where our podcast is going live at?
It would go to lots of different places.
With the subscription. Without
Yeah, I would choose where to
without
go.
it without
It's a hosting, so it's not. To be clear, it just you can't just put your audio out there. So the way podcasts actually work, and I've learned this just from doing the research for us, the way podcasts actually work is you have to get an RSS feed. Right? It doesn't matter what RSS stands for. I forget. It's stupid.
probably
Um,
not.
really
Probably
simple
really
something.
important.
I forget. But it's not to me. It isn't. So, but the way it works is you have to have it hosted somewhere, and then the places that distribute it pull it from that host. Does that make sense? So you're not putting your podcast on Apple Podcasts. You're not putting your podcast on Spotify. You're not putting it at these places. They're pulling it from your RSS feed. So there has to be like a host for that RSS feed, which we could do on our website, but that takes a lot. It has to be a strong server, and really our website's not built for that. You know what I mean? So it would be kind of stupid for us to do that and then have issues with our website. I don't want to be in that scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we could just
Yeah.
post links
So
to our podcasts on the website
mhm,
and just do it that way, right?
yeah,
The roundabout way.
yeah. I mean, we would probably just put a link to like our YouTube page, but the other stuff is, whatever. It just takes work and figuring out what to do. But you know,
Yeah, for Rizzle.
anyway, that was a long tangent.
It really was. We lost like 20 subscribers there.
We lost 20 subscribers that we don't have. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what else?
We didn't talk as long as I thought we were going to talk on some of the other stuff.
We would
So
have if you would have let
we,
us like do the thing that I had suggested. But that's cool. No one really wants to know anything about you or me. That's not why they're watching us. They hate us.
it
They
isn't.
hate you, Mando.
I mean, I'm not going to watch a podcast where one person just talks about themselves the entire time.
For the
So,
first episode, I disagree.
well, go ahead and do one, and we'll post it, and
I
you could
bet
have
you.
the
I bet you we
Josh
get
solo
double
version.
the subscribers than we have right now. It'll
Okay,
be my
bet.
mom and dad.
That's not double. Double of zero is still zero.
Math is hard.
Yeah, math is
Math
hard.
is.
So, I think while we shoot for an hour-long podcast, I think we're gonna cut this one a little short so we don't just ramble, which is fine. When we have a guest on, that's gonna occupy time and space too.
Yep,
So we'll be
for
good.
sure, for
But
sure.
are you gonna take us home?
Yeah, so thanks for watching Halcyon Days, the estate sale journey and beyond. Catch us next week, anywhere where you see your local podcasts. That's what we're deciding to do, right? All
Perfect.
right.
Peace out.
Roger Dodger.